What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 2, You Scots to Chill. So it starts off with Melody and Stormy. We're still at Kimmy's party, her pink party, and Melody and Stormy are having a conversation as far as why Melody ghosted everybody and why she ghosted Stormy in particular. So Stormy says, I was trying to text you, you never responded. Melody's like, well, you should have DM'd me. Stormy said, well, I don't DM my friends. And Melody was like, well, you should have known that I changed my number or something to that effect. But the bottom line is, Melody says that her real friends in her real life understand that she has her boundaries. And there's moments when she doesn't want to be bothered. And they know not to cross those boundaries, and they know to leave her alone. So if Stormy is Melody's real friend in real life and not just playing Melody's friend on a show, then why didn't Stormy know that? If they're real friends in real life, why didn't Stormy know? Because Kimmy knew that in the off season, as soon as the season is over, Melody needs her space. So Kimmy knows to respect that. Tisha don't fool with Melody anyway. And Tiffany, of course, we know nobody fools with Tiffany. So I'm not understanding why Stormy didn't know that if she's her real friend in real life. I'm not putting fault on Melody or Stormy. I'm putting fault on the show for making us believe that Stormy and Melody are like real friends in real life. I think that Stormy is just playing Melody's friend. I don't know if Stormy got the memo that you're here to play her friend, or if Stormy really thinks that she's Melody's friend. I don't know. But if you're her real friend in real life, then you wouldn't be surprised that there are times when Melody just needs her space. But the conversation ends well. They make up and, they go get something to eat together. And so everything is fine between Melody and Stormy. So then there was this, before all of that, I forgot to tell y'all, there was this whole issue of this, when they were still having a conversation, there was this whole issue of somebody recording Melody. So last season, Destiny, when Martell was getting things ready for his wine launch and he was having a party to celebrate his wine, while he was preparing, trying to find a space or getting the space ready for the party, Destiny had approached him and she had played a conversation that Melody was having with somebody, I'm assuming, of her talking about Martell. Now, what she said wasn't even bad. It was just the stuff that she says all the time on the show and wherever she's at. Just the stuff that she always talks about. It was nothing bad, nothing salacious, nothing vindictive, nothing mean. And so Destiny was playing this recording to Martell, and the look on Destiny's face, it was like she felt good that she was exposing Melody to Martell. But whatever Melody was saying, it really wasn't even that bad. So I don't understand what Destiny's motive was behind that. So the rumor, I guess, was out there online that it was Stormy that had recorded Melody in that conversation. And Stormy just wants to make it clear to Melody that that's not how she rolls. She's not that type of a person who will secretly record her friends. And so Melody wasn't bothered by it. She was like, girl, don't worry about what's going on the internet. That's just how things go out there. Just, forget about it. Just ignore it. And Stormy said, well, I'm not that type of person to just ignore it. So if my name is being dragged out there, or if someone is, putting my name out there saying that I did something I didn't do, I am going to address it. So girl, you're going to be addressing a whole lot of stuff. It's going to wear you out trying to address all the stuff out there that is said about you online. But like I said, they ended on a good note. So then Kiki shows up to Tisha's surprise. Tisha had no idea that Kiki would be there. And Tisha says that she's going to keep her distance from her cousin Kiki. So then we see a scene at the same party. We're still at the pink party. Martell is having a conversation with Kimmy. He's asking her how she's feeling. And she says that she's feeling really, really tired. And then Kimmy talks about how, Maurice has really been there for her during this, journey that she's been on, and he's been like a really good support system for her, and everybody needs to have that person, that really strong support system by their side. And she asks Martell, don't you miss that? And Martell says, yes, of course. I miss having someone by my side that is always going to be there for me, someone that, I can go to every single day to confide in, etc., etc. So Kimmy concludes that, oh, Martell misses his family and wants his family back, i.e., Martell wants Melody back. And I don't understand why people are constantly, when they're with Martell, they have to bring up Melody. And when they're with Melody, they have to bring up Martell. When these two people were together, everybody talked about how their marriage was falling apart, that they shouldn't be together. Martell is cheating on Melody. Why is Melody staying with the cheater? And so then they got a divorce. Now that they're divorced, people keep talking about how they need to be back together again. I am not understanding. These two people have a divorce, a finalized divorce. Stop fantasizing about these people coming back together, because it's not going to happen. So I was a little bit perturbed when Kimmy brought up, well, not when she brought up, but when she came to this conclusion that because Martell misses having a partner by his side, it must mean that he wants Melody back. I'm pretty sure he does want Melody back, but he's not going to get her back. There's no way that Melody will ever go back to Martell, because she did go back to him after, knowing that he cheated on her and all this other stuff. She went back to him, give him another chance, and he didn't change. He was still cheating on her. She's not going to go back to someone who's going to constantly make a fool out of her and embarrass at her, because now they are well-known television figures. So she's not going to go back to this man just for him to embarrass her again. It's just not going to happen. And I need people to stop having this fantasy that one day they might get back together. Martell misses his family. Martell wants his family back. Martell wants Melody back. I'm tired of hearing that, because it's just not going to happen. So what's the point of saying it? So Mel says, okay, where am I here? I just completely lost track. Okay, so when it's time for Melody to leave the party, Martell says to her, well, let me walk you to your car. And Melody's like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm fine. And he's like, no, let me walk you. And so he keeps on insisting on walking her to her car. And she keeps on insisting on telling him that she didn't need him to walk her to her car. So then they run into the Whitlows, and, he's telling the Whitlows, man, I'm just trying to walk her to her car and she doesn't want me to. And then Tiffany says, well, I know when I'm somewhere and a gentleman offers to walk me to my car, even though I might feel like I don't need it, I still allow him to. Blah, blah, blah. And everybody, is trying to make Melody look like she's crazy for not allowing her ex husband to walk her to her car. And she doesn't want him to walk her to her car, because it's not just going to be walking her to her car. He probably has a plethora of things that he wants to talk about that she doesn't want to talk about. And they're going to be out on that damn parking lot until the sun comes up. Okay, so she understands his game, and she was married to this man for I don't know how many years. They've got 4 children together. They've been through it all. She knows this man, and she understands that him walking her to her car, it's not just him walking her to her car. It's a whole lot more than that. So she doesn't want to be bothered with it. And I'm sick and tired of Martell always having to do all this extra stuff with Melody. Just keep it about the children and then leave her alone. Talk to her when you need to talk to her about the kids. See her when y'all are exchanging the children, or when y'all are invited to the same event. When you are invited to the same event, say hello, how are you, leave her alone. Don't do all this other extra stuff. And he does these things, I feel like, to get under her skin. And he knows that she's going to come off looking like, she's going to come off looking unreasonable, because everybody's going to be like, girl, just let that man walk you to your car. It ain't no big deal. He knows that people are going to see it that way, and then she's going to come off looking crazy, and he's going to come off looking like, oh, poor Martell. He just wants to do right by his ex-wife. He just wants to make sure that she's okay by walking her to her car. Anyway, I just wish that Martell would leave her alone. Don't ask her to pray. Don't ask her to, if you can walk her to her car, or if you want to ask her and she says no, let it go and leave it alone. Why are you insisting on being around this woman who doesn't want you around her? You have a whole new woman. Worry about Sheree. Okay, if you feel like you need some female attention or some female companionship, go FaceTime Sheree and leave Melody alone. So he walks her only to the door, okay, because that was her compromise. He was going to walk her to her door, and then that was it. Moving on from there, so Kimmy and Maurice, they're home together, and Kimmy has her surgery coming up, and she's talking about how she's gonna cook all this food for her and Maurice, so that when she comes back from the surgery, they don't have to worry about cooking. Everything will already be prepared, and Maurice just wants her to relax and to take it easy and not worry about stuff like that, because he's got that taken care of. Kimmy tells Maurice about her conversation with Martell. Okay, once again, they're talking about her upcoming surgery. And like I said, I'm not blaming Kimmy or Maurice. I know that they have to do this because this is what the producers want. This is what Carlos King wants. Every conversation has to be centered around Melody and Martell, even though they're divorced. So Kimmy tells Maurice that she was having a conversation with Martell, and Martell was talking about how much he misses having someone in his life. And so she concluded that he misses Melody, and he wants his wife back, and he wants his family back. Maurice kind of looked at her like, oh, I don't know about that. And he says that at the party when Melody was leaving, Martell wanted to walk her to her car, and she didn't want it, so he only walked her to the door. And then when he came back to the party, he was looking all sad, and Kimmy was like, oh no, what did you tell him? And Maurice said, I made fun of him. As he should. Martell, look, y'all, Martell knows better. He knows that everything Martell does is calculated and manipulated, because he's used to that. He manipulated Melody throughout their whole entire marriage, from the day they got married into the day they got divorced. He tried to manipulate this woman and play with her mind, and he's still doing it. He doesn't care about her safety. He just wanted to mess with her. He knew that she was going to be aggravated. He knew that he was going to come off looking like someone who was the victim, and she was going to look like the damn villain, because she won't let this man just walk her to her car because he's so concerned about her damn safety. So Maurice says that Martell's got to make up his mind, on what he wants. Maurice says Martell has to make up his mind whether or not he wants Melody. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't have to make up his mind. No, it doesn't matter what he wants. It doesn't matter what he thinks. The woman don't want him. She doesn't want him. And why do people talk about Martell as if he doesn't have a woman in his life? Now, I understand that Martell and Sheree want to play down their relationship. To me, okay, first of all, Martell and Sheree, that whole situation, to me, I don't really care about. I think it's boring as hell. I don't believe in them having a real relationship. I don't think it's real at all. I think it's just for the cameras. It's just for TV. It's just for publicity. It's just for attention. I'm not buying the Martell and Sheree story. Absolutely not. But anyways, y'all want us to believe that him and Sheree are seeing each other. Why are you worried about Melody? Why are you worried about Melody? This is the second episode, and there's been more conversations about Melody and Martell than there have been about Martell and Sheree. Anywho, moving on. So Martell, this scene right here with Chris, what's his name? Fletcher, and his wife, Nell Fletcher. This scene right here was the most contrived, fake, phony, fabricated scene I have ever seen in my life. Chris Fletcher and his wife, Nell, are supposed to have date night, but then Martell pops up. How, why, and where the hell do they do that at? Evidently, Chris invited Martell to come have dinner with him or something. And then in Martell's confessional, he talks about how, well, me and Chris, we go way back and we're really good friends. So, it's not unusual that I would be included in their date night. What? It was so crazy to me. I don't understand why they didn't just build up this scene as Chris and his wife wanted to have dinner with Martell. They have to make it into they're having a date night, and then Chris Fletcher invited Martell to stop by or to come over or to meet up with them. I don't know what the hell is going on, but Martell shows up on Chris and Nell's date night, and the whole entire conversation is centered around Melody again. Why? Why do we keep talking about when Martell is there? Why do people want to bring up Melody? And then when Melody's there, why do they want to bring up? These people are divorced. They're divorced. Let them be divorced. They're always messing with each other because people are constantly bringing up one in front of the other. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so we have, the three of them sitting there, Chris, Martell, and Nell. Nell is asking Martell about his love life. And Martell says he's just having fun right now. He's just enjoying himself, even though he really does want to get married. He's just having fun right now. So the question was, are you exclusive about Sheree? Martell says, are you exclusive about Sheree, and is Sheree the one? Is she the one? And Martell says, well, only time will tell. We'll see as time progresses where this is going to go. So then the question was, how long are you going to date? I guess before you pop the question, I'm assuming that was what they meant. And Martell takes one of Melody's little sayings and uses it for himself, and he thought it was hilarious. He says, when God says go, God says go, or whatever the hell the phrase goes. And he thought it was so funny. He just busted out laughing that he stole one of Melody's phrases to apply to his situation. So they talk about Martell being upset about Melody having 20 babysitters. Okay. Why Martell is so bothered by the fact that Melody has various people watching her kids, I don't understand. Because does anyone believe that Melody would put her children in harm's way? That she would allow people to watch her children that she doesn't know, that she hasn't, just random strangers just come and watch her kids? Does anybody believe that Melody would actually do that? Because I'm not understanding why Martell is so bothered by it. And if he does believe that Melody is putting his children in harm's way by having random strangers watch them, then do what you've been threatening to do. Just go to court and get full custody of your children and have enough proof to show the court that she's putting these children in harm's way. Because I don't understand why he's worried about that. The fact that she's letting people watch her children while she's out there trying to make money for her kids. I don't understand why that's a big deal. And if that's the worst thing that he has on Melody, he's damn lucky, because there's a lot of ex-husbands out there who have real issues with their ex-wives and the things that their ex-wives are doing with their children or to their children. The people that these ex-wives are really allowing to watch their kids. So if the biggest problem that you have, Martell, is, oh, Melody has too many babysitters, consider yourself lucky. Moving on to Letitia. So Letitia is at, I think they have another lounge called Uptown, her and Marceau. I don't know if it was Uptown or if it was the same black lounge, but I think it's another lounge. I think it's called Uptown. So she's there meeting up with her cousin Courtney. And they make sure that they mention to us that Miss Wanda, even though Miss Wanda's not going to be, or she hasn't shown up yet, we need to promote her and her products. Miss Wanda has a cookbook coming out, y'all. So congratulations to Tisha. She got her brokerage license. So good for her. And Courtney is also in the business of real estate. So Tisha wants Courtney to come work for her brokerage firm. And Courtney says, well, I was with a brokerage firm, then I switched over to another brokerage firm. So I really can't, switch up again. So then they start talking about Kiki. And Courtney says to Tisha, talking about how close everybody once was, we're family, we're blood, we got to get it together. So I need you and Tisha to have a conversation, because when I was coming up, both of y'all were really there for me. And I don't want to see, the bond between y'all be broken forever. So I want y'all to have a conversation. And so Tisha, being the businesswoman that she is, offers her a deal and says, I will talk to Kiki, but you have to promise to come to my brokerage firm. And so I think Courtney went ahead and agreed. And I was like, that was a good move, Tisha. If you're going to give something, you better make sure you get something back in return. Melody's meeting up with Nell Fletcher, another contrived scene. So she's meeting up with Nell Fletcher, and the meeting starts off with Nell telling Melody about all the complaints that Martell had. Martell says that, you have a whole bunch of people watching the kids, and you know that y'all are going to be in each other's lives, forever, because y'all got kids together. So there's never going to be a time when y'all are not, around each other, or that y'all won't be seeing each other, because even after these kids are grown, y'all are always going to be in each other's lives, and so on and so forth. And so he's really concerned that you have all these different people watching the children. And I'm thinking to myself, this don't make what. First of all, Nell, girl, I like you, and I really like your husband, Chris Fletcher. Why y'all getting involved in these divorced people's business? Like, what business is it of Nell to tell Melody that Martell is having an issue with her having various people watching her children? That just didn't make any sense to me, especially since Chris Fletcher, he kind of comes across as he doesn't want to get involved with the mess. Yes, he's on a messy reality TV show, but he kind of comes across as, I'm really here about the business end of the show. I'm not really here for the mess and the gossip and the rumors and what's going on online. I'm just here when y'all need a scene that's centered around the business. I'll show up for that. That's how he comes across to me. So the fact that his wife is diving in head first into the murky mess of Melody and Martell, it didn't make any sense to me at all. And I understand that one season, I don't know if it was last season or the season before, I think it was the season before, when Melody and Martell had come over to the Fletchers' home because the Fletchers were going to try to mediate between them. And it ended horribly because Melody threw a glass at Martell and it shattered on the ground. So I understand that, okay, but nobody wants to get involved in the mess that goes on between divorced people. Like, I didn't understand why you would want, and then the fact that Melody didn't tell her off just showed me how fake this scene was, because I think Melody would have taken offense to having someone come and tell her, well, Martell said that you have a whole bunch of people watching the children and he don't like that. I think Melody, the real Melody, would have been like, you know what, we'll go tell Martell where he can kiss it, and then walked off. That's how I imagine the real Melody reacting. But because the scene is so staged and forced, she has to entertain this nonsense. And so as they're talking, and I don't know if it was if this whole scene was for the benefit of Martell or the benefit of Melody, but I think it was for the benefit of Melody, so that Melody can come across as reasonable and wanting to work things out and showing that she's tried to make things work with Martell. And because at the end of the scene, Nell was more so on Melody's side. She came in kind of representing or speaking for Martell, but she ended siding with Melody because Melody said, I don't have various people watching my children. It's only a select few. And I think they're family members or very close friends or very trusted nannies or babysitters that she hires. So it's not just random 20 people, watching her children. And she also says, Nell brought up, well, Martell wants to know, what about if y'all had a common babysitter, babysitters, 3 babysitters that y'all would use between the two of you. And Melody said, we tried that and it didn't work because he scared the damn babysitters off. So at the end of it all, it was Nell kind of had a change of mind, and she was more thinking that, okay, Melody here is a more reasonable one. This scene was stupid. It was contrived, and I think it was just completely unnecessary. And it's just taking us deeper and deeper into the Melody Martell divorce mess, which I have no interest in. I don't care about babysitters. I don't care if they want, Martell doesn't pick them up on time, Melody doesn't drop them off on time. I don't care about Melody telling Martell, well, you can't have them this weekend, and Melody and Martell telling Melody, well, I'm coming to get my kids this weekend because that's what my court orders. I don't care about any of that. I don't care. I'm more interested in, because the show is Love and Marriage Huntsville. Okay, they're not married, but they're trying to find love, I'm assuming. I'm more interested, if Martell is going to find a real relationship. I don't believe in the charade thing. If he's going to find a real relationship with somebody else, or if Melody, because Melody will never talk about who she's seeing, because that's gonna always be top secret. Or Melody moving on to someone else. And what I don't understand is, if they're divorced and they're seeing other people, why wouldn't Melody want people to know who she's seeing? Why is that a big deal? I don't understand. And maybe I understand, like, she probably wants she wants to protect her new relationship and doesn't want it to get dragged through the internet streets. But how are you going to, what is your purpose on this show if you're not going to show us your relationship? And this is a show called Love and Marriage Huntsville. So why are you on this show? Because you bickering with Martell, kill it. Kill it. Not interested. The two of y'all bickering about pickup time and drop off times and babysitters and all that other. Kill it. I'm not. Go tell that stuff to your lawyer. I don't want to see that on my TV. That's not interesting to me. So what's the point then? If Melody isn't constantly bickering with Martell, then what is she doesn't have a purpose on the show. So I guess she struck a deal with Carlos saying, well, I don't want to show my new boo thing on TV. So let's just do these damn scenes where I'm always fighting with Martell about the kids. I don't know. Moving on. Tisha. So she meets up with Kiki at a kickboxing class, and this just went nowhere. This scene went absolutely nowhere. So they meet up, and Tisha tells Kiki, look, you really hurt me. You're my cousin, but you really hurt me when, you were trying to throw my marriage under the bus at that damn Christmas party, because, Kiki knows that Melody and Tisha do not get along. And Kiki went to Melody's party and she started talking about Tisha's marriage, which I thought was god awful. I thought it was absolutely wrong for Kiki to do that. I don't know if Melody used her. I don't know if Kiki was just eager to spill the tea because she had her own axe to grind with Tisha. I don't know, but it was just wrong for Kiki to go to that party and start talking about Tisha and Maurice's marriage, because she's family. Now, it's one thing when the streets are talking about it. It's another thing. It's like if someone on the show who doesn't really, like if Melody's talking about Tisha's marriage, or if Tiffany is talking about Tisha's marriage. But Kiki, you're blood. Okay. Y'all are blood. And you can't go on TV and start talking about your cousin's marriage like that. That's just not right. And so Tisha has every right to have trust issues with Kiki and to be hurt and feel betrayed by Kiki. And Kiki will start off by saying, you think that an apology is coming, but it never does, because she starts off by saying, I didn't, you're right. I did hurt you, but, my intention was not to go to that party and talk about, that was not my intention to hurt you. But you did some things to me too, Tisha. So you think she's going to apologize by like, yeah, you're right. My intentions are not to hurt you and I'm sorry. But no, she's like, yeah, I didn't really want to hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did some things to me too, Tisha. And at the reunion, I think she did apologize, but that apology was quickly followed by accusations. When you did this to me, you hurt me too. And she'll apologize, but then she tries to justify what she did. But I did that because you did this. And it's just, they're exactly where they were at last season, where it's like neither one of them wants to admit wrongdoing. They're both accusing each other of wrongdoing, and it's not gonna go anywhere. So that whole conversation went nowhere. And Tisha says that she needs to protect herself and that she needs to stay the hell away from Kiki. And I totally agree. And I rarely agree with Tisha. But yes, you need to stay away from Kiki. Don't share any personal information with her ever again, because she cannot be trusted. She betrayed you once, and she will definitely betray you again if you don't watch out for that girl. So that's where that ended. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, please go ahead and subscribe. And I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.